Welcome. Tonight, we are about to step into another world, one that is far from the noise of battlefields and kings, from the busy streets and frantic modern pace of life. We are moving quietly, slowly, into the peaceful, sacred spaces of a medieval monastery. The world outside is still dark. The first stars are fading in the sky, and the moon hangs like a pale lantern above rolling hills. But within the stone walls of the monastery, the day has already begun. The monastery is ancient and unyielding, its stones worn smooth by the footsteps of those who have come before us. This place has known nothing but silence and prayer for centuries. Here, time moves differently, more slowly, more deliberately. Tonight, we will spend the hours in the company of monks, quiet, devoted men, whose lives are shaped by prayer, work, and the gentle passing of each day. Their days are not filled with the frantic rush of modern life, but instead with routine and ritual. From the first toll of the bell before dawn to the final whispered prayer by candlelight, it is a world that flows at its own pace, untouched by the urgency of the world outside. So let us take a moment, take a deep, slow breath, and join the monks as they begin their day. The day begins in the stillness of the pre-dawn darkness. The silence is thick, almost tangible. All is quiet. The world outside the monastery walls is hidden under a blanket of shadow, yet within the chapel, a single bell rings. The sound echoes through the cold stone hallways, its tone clear and purposeful. It is the first signal of the day, matins. The monks stir in their cells, each one rising from the straw mattress upon which he has slept. They move carefully, with purpose, though without haste. There is no need for words. The monastery is silent, save for the tolling of the bell and the faint sounds of robes rustling, sandals whispering across the stone floors. The monks' habits, simple and coarse, feel heavy in their hands as they put them on. Their feet, bare or shod in simple sandals, make no sound on the stone floors as they move from their cells and into the quiet corridors. Each monk knows his place, and they move with the same quiet rhythm, as if part of the same prayer, the same quiet unfolding of the day. Outside, the sky is still dark, but the first light of dawn begins to creep over the horizon. Inside the chapel, the monks assemble. Their faces are solemn, their eyes heavy from sleep. Yet there is a peace to their movements, an air of quiet reverence. They kneel on the cold stone floor and begin to chant. The chant is not hurried, but steady, slow, rhythmic, each note rising and falling like a gentle wave. The words they speak are in Latin, ancient and familiar. And though the meanings of the words may be lost to some, the power of the chant remains. Each word is a prayer, each note a reflection of their devotion. The sound fills the space, echoing off the stone walls. It is a song of longing, of surrender, of connection to something greater than the self. After the morning prayers, as the bell's final toll fades into silence, the monks move toward the refectory. The room, though modest, is welcoming, its stone walls steeped in the warmth of centuries. The monks enter in single file, their movements deliberate, practiced. There is no rush. They know that the day ahead will unfold in its own time. The refectory is sparsely furnished. Long wooden tables worn smooth by years of use. The air smells faintly of fresh bread and the earthiness of grain. On the tables, bowls of simple porridge and slices of coarse bread await, their surfaces marked by the uneven cuts of a sharp knife. Each monk finds his place at the table in silence, sitting down with the same calm expression that has defined the rhythm of their lives. The meal is not one of luxury, nor is it meant to be. It is sustenance for the body, nourishment for the spirit. No words are exchanged. This is not a time for conversation, but for reflection. The bread is dense, its texture rough, and as the monks break it in half, a few crumbs fall softly to the table. It is a simple meal, but it is enough. Perhaps there is a sense of contentment here, a quiet satisfaction that comes not from abundance, but from having what is needed. The porridge, warm and filling, offers comfort in its simplicity. Each bite is a small act of devotion, an acknowledgement of the gifts of the earth. Once the meal has been finished, the monks rise as quietly as they sat and return to their tasks. Some will head to the garden to tend to the herbs and vegetables, while others will make their way to the scriptorium, where the sound of quills scratching across parchment will soon fill the air once again. There is no hurry. Each task is approached with patience, done not for the sake of completion, but as an offering to something greater. As the first light of the morning creeps higher in the sky, the monks file out of the refectory and into the quiet stone corridors. The air in the monastery is always cool, but here in the scriptorium it is particularly calm. The room is bathed in a soft glow from the sunlight filtering through the high windows, casting delicate patterns on the stone floor. The scriptorium is a place of quiet devotion, of sacred work. Here, the monks spend hours each day copying sacred texts, meticulously transcribing the words of the Bible, prayers, and ancient theological writings. The task requires immense patience and focus. The monks approach their work with the same reverence they give to prayer, each stroke of the quill a reflection of their devotion. The sound of quills scratching across parchment is the only noise that fills the room. There is a rhythm to it, steady, gentle, almost hypnotic. The ink flows from the quill in delicate, graceful strokes, each letter forming carefully, precisely, as if the very act of writing is a form of prayer. Every monk here is focused on his task. Their eyes are trained on the page before them, their hands moving with practiced ease. But there is no rush. There is no desire to finish quickly. The monks know that the work itself is as important as the finished product. Every word written is a step closer to the divine, a small act of devotion that transcends the mundane world outside. The sunlight grows warmer as the day progresses, and the quiet murmur of the scriptorium continues. The monks are fully immersed in their work, their minds untroubled by the affairs of the world outside. They are creating something timeless, something sacred, one letter at a time. After several hours of work, the monks pause. The scriptorium, though peaceful, can be intense in its quiet focus, and the monks now take a break, stepping into the courtyard and walking the cloisters. The cloisters are long, covered walkways that form the heart of the monastery, wrapping around the central courtyard like a protective embrace. The light here is softer, filtered through the leafy branches of trees that grow along the edges. The air is cool, the scent of earth and leaves drifting with each step. The monks walk slowly, each step deliberate, each breath deep and calming. There is no need for words here, the silence is enough. Some monks walk alone, their hands folded in front of them, their thoughts perhaps focused on their prayers or their work. Others walk in pairs, their footsteps falling in rhythm with one another, yet the conversation is absent. There is a peace in this shared silence, a quiet connection between the monks. In this moment, time slows even further. The sun filters through the leaves, dappling the stone floor in shifting patterns. The air is filled with the gentle sounds of nature, the soft rustling of leaves, the distant sound of birds chirping. The monks pause at the fountain in the center of the courtyard, listening to the water trickling softly. There is no rush. They stand in stillness, letting the quiet seep into their bones, letting the calm of the moment wash over them. The fountain, like the monks themselves, seems timeless, its water flowing without concern for time or hurry. As the sun begins to set, casting a golden glow over the stone walls of the monastery, the bell tolls once again, this time calling the monks to vespers, the evening prayer. The light in the chapel is now softer, warmer, as it filters through the stained glass windows, casting colourful patterns on the stone floor. The monks file in, their movements as calm and measured as always. The Vespers prayer is a time of quiet reflection, a time to give thanks for the day that has passed and to ask for guidance as the night begins. The chants rise in the cool air of the chapel, their tones slow, steady, almost reverential. There is no hurry here, only the peaceful cadence of the prayer, the steady rhythm of the monks' voices. After the prayer, the monks head to the refectory once more, where a simple evening meal awaits. The food is the same as it always is: bread, vegetables, perhaps a bowl of soup. The meal is not for indulgence, but for sustenance. The monks eat slowly, savouring the warmth of the meal, but there is no conversation. The meal is a quiet, solitary experience, a reflection of the peaceful, deliberate nature of the monks' lives. Once the meal has been finished, the monks return to their cells. The evening air is cooler now, and the quiet of the monastery deepens. The only sound is the occasional creak of wooden doors and the soft shuffle of sandals on stone. The monks prepare for sleep, knowing that tomorrow will bring the same quiet rhythm of prayer, work, and rest. As the evening deepens and the last rays of sunlight fade from the sky, the monks prepare for the final prayers of the day. Compline. This prayer, the last of the evening, is a time for reflection, for gratitude, and for entrusting the day's work and thoughts to God. The chapel is dark now, save for the soft glow of a few candles, their light flickering like tiny stars in the stillness. The monks gather once more in the chapel, their footsteps quiet on the stone floors. They kneel in prayer, the silence between them thick, as though time itself has paused to listen. Compline is a prayer of peace. The monks recite the words slowly, softly, each syllable falling like a gentle drop of water into stillness. There is no rush. Each prayer is an offering, a small act of devotion, a letting go of the day. The gentle chants echo through the chapel, blending with the flickering candlelight. It feels as though the very walls of the monastery are alive with the prayer. The air is thick with reverence, and the monks' voices seem to resonate within the stone, creating a deep, soothing vibration that seems to fill the entire space. As the last notes of the prayer fade, the monks rise, and one by one, they begin to make their way back to their cells. The chapel doors creak softly as they are closed, and the silence returns. The monastery, now quiet and still, seems to hold its breath as the monks retreat into their own thoughts. The night is calm, and the monks prepare for sleep, their minds at peace. The air is cool now, and the sound of the wind outside is the only thing that remains. The night is deepening, and the monastery sinks into a peaceful slumber. After Compline, the monastery seems to settle into an even deeper silence. The monks return to their cells, each room a small, simple space. The walls are bare, save for the faint outline of a wooden cross and perhaps a small shelf with a few personal items, perhaps a book, a rosary, or a worn pair of sandals. Each cell is a place of solitude, a place for rest and reflection. The bed is simple, a straw mattress on a wooden frame with a rough woolen blanket. The monks prepare for sleep in the same quiet manner that defines their every movement. They remove their sandals and fold their habits with careful precision. They kneel for a final moment of prayer, their heads bowed in the dim light. The prayer is not long, but it is a gentle offering, a request for peace, for rest, and for guidance through the night. Once the prayer has ended, the monks lie down in their simple beds, the silence of the monastery wrapping around them like a soft blanket. The air is cool, the stone walls thick enough to keep the warmth of the day trapped inside. The only sound now is the slow, steady rhythm of their breath as they drift off to sleep. Outside, the night is deepening, the wind rustling softly through the trees in the courtyard. The stars above are hidden behind a veil of clouds, but in the stillness of the monastery, there is a sense that all is well. As the monks drift into sleep, the monastery itself seems to breathe, its ancient stones settling into the night. There is a profound peace here, a silence that is unlike anything found in the world outside. The walls of the monastery have absorbed the prayers, the chants, the footsteps, the quiet of the monks, and now they rest in stillness. The only sounds that remain are the soft rustling of leaves in the courtyard, the distant call of an owl in the nearby woods, and the occasional creak of wood settling in the cool night air. The wind moves gently through the trees, sending the occasional leaf fluttering down to the ground. In the distance, a dog barks, but the sound is muffled by the thick stone walls of the monastery. The stars outside twinkle softly, their light dimmed by the clouds, but their presence is steady and constant. Inside, the monks sleep soundly, their bodies at rest, their minds quiet. The peacefulness of the monastery seeps deep into their bones, and they rest, knowing that tomorrow will bring another quiet day, a day of prayer, work, and rest. In this place, time moves slowly, but it is always moving. And even as the monks sleep, the world outside continues on its course. But for now, there is nothing but peace, nothing but the quiet hum of existence. The night has passed, and as the first light of morning begins to creep over the horizon, the monastery slowly awakens. The air is cool, the sky still painted in hues of deep blue and purple. The stars begin to fade, their light dimming as the sun makes its way toward the earth. The bell tolls once more, signaling the start of a new day. The monks rise from their simple beds, their movements quiet and deliberate. The rhythm of the monastery continues, unchanged by the passage of time. The day begins with the same quiet grace as every other. The monks prepare for matins, the first prayer of the day, which will set the tone for the hours ahead. There is no rush, no hurry. Each monk knows his place, and they move together, silently, in unison. As the monks assemble for prayer, the world outside the monastery remains still, the gentle light of the morning creeping into the chapel. The prayers will be the same as the day before, and yet they will be new, a fresh offering, a new opportunity to dedicate the day to God. The air in the monastery is cool, filled with the faint scent of stone and earth. It smells like the beginning of something ancient, something that has been unfolding in the same rhythm for centuries. As the monks rise, there is no rush in their movements. Each monk rises from his straw mattress with quiet deliberation, adjusting his coarse wool habit and standing with a soft grace, as if the very act of standing is part of their prayer. The world outside still sleeps. The courtyard is bathed in soft, pale light. The stone paths cool beneath the monks' bare feet as they walk, each step measured, each breath slow. The monastery is a world unto itself, moving at a pace that feels out of step with the world outside. And yet it is a pace that feels timeless, rooted in the earth, in the stone, in the prayer that rises with each breath. The monks make their way to the refectory, where breakfast awaits. Simple food, crusty bread, a bowl of porridge. The meal is modest, not for indulgence, but for nourishment. The room is quiet. There is no chatter, no noise, just the soft sound of wooden spoons scraping bowls, the occasional rustle of a habit as a monk shifts in his seat. Their focus is not on the meal, but on the silence, the peace that fills the space. This is nourishment for the body, yes, but it is also nourishment for the soul, for silence is the true food here. The stone walls of the refectory seem to absorb the quiet. The table is long and simple, with the monks sitting in rows, their heads bowed, not in sorrow, but in contentment. Their morning ritual is one of humble reflection, each bite taken slowly, each moment savoring the stillness. The meal ends, and once again, there is no hurry. The monks rise from the table in unison, their footsteps soft as they move through the corridors of the monastery. The scriptorium awaits them, where their work will continue. It is a sacred task, not of making, but of preserving. The monks will copy sacred texts, word by word, page by page, with painstaking care and devotion. The scriptorium is a room of quiet focus. The wooden tables are worn with age, the surface scarred by years of use. The air smells of parchment, ink, and candle wax, faint but comforting. It is a room made for contemplation, not haste. Each monk takes his place at the table, his quill ready, his focus on the task ahead. The sound of quills scratching across parchment fills the room, a soft and steady rhythm that seems to blend with the heartbeat of the monastery itself. The monks move slowly, with deliberation. Each word they write is a prayer, each stroke of the quill an act of devotion. The Latin text flows slowly from the tip of the quill, each letter formed with care, with reverence. There is no rush here, no desire for completion. The task is sacred, and it is the act of writing that matters, not the end result. As they write, the room seems to hum with the quiet energy of their devotion. The candlelight flickers gently, casting long, dancing shadows on the stone walls. The monks are absorbed in their work, the quiet sounds of the scriptorium filling the space, quill scratching, ink dipping, parchment turning. It is a gentle, soothing rhythm, one that mirrors the heartbeat of the monastery. Outside, the sun climbs higher in the sky, casting longer shadows in the courtyard. The air grows warmer, and the peaceful sound of the scriptorium continues, uninterrupted. The monks are absorbed in their work, each lost in the act of transcribing sacred texts. It is a task that takes time, but that is the point. Time is measured here not by hours on a clock, but by the slow passing of moments. Each page is a prayer, each word a meditation, each line a connection to something greater. As the morning passes, some monks leave the scriptorium to tend to the garden. The garden is not just for food, it is a place of peace, a place where the monks can connect with the earth and with themselves. The sun is now fully risen, and the garden is bathed in warm, golden light. The trees stand tall and proud, their leaves rustling gently in the breeze. The herbs and vegetables are carefully tended to, each plant lovingly nurtured by the monks' hands. The monks work in silence, their hands moving gently through the soil. There is no urgency, no need to hurry. The work is slow, methodical, and deeply satisfying. The earth is rich and dark beneath their fingers, cool and fertile. As they pull weeds and gather herbs, there is a deep sense of connection to the land, to the earth, to the very foundation of their lives. The garden is a place of simplicity, where the monks can lose themselves in the rhythm of nature. It is a place where they can be still, where they can listen to the sound of the wind in the trees and the rustling of the leaves. The work is not just for the body, but for the spirit. It is an offering, a prayer to the earth that sustains them. As the day wanes, the monastery begins to settle into its evening rhythm. The air, which had been warm from the midday sun, begins to cool, and the shadows in the courtyard grow longer. The sound of the bell tolling resonates through the stone walls once again, signaling the call to vespers. The monks rise from their individual tasks with quiet reverence, preparing to gather for the evening prayer that marks the transition from the busyness of the day to the stillness of the night. The bell, though soft, carries a deep resonance through the monastery. It is not just a call to prayer. It is a reminder of the sacred rhythm of life that unfolds in this place, each hour filled with its own quiet purpose. The monks, attuned to this rhythm, move without hurry, their footsteps soft against the stone floors, their faces serene, their eyes focused inward. In the chapel, the monks gather, kneeling in rows. The room, bathed in the soft light of evening, is filled with a quiet energy. The last rays of the setting sun filter through the stained glass windows, casting colorful patterns on the stone floor. The light is warm, but fading, as if the very atmosphere is drawing its breath before the night takes hold. The monks' voices rise together in a slow, peaceful chant. The cadence is measured, deliberate, each word spoken with care, each note a prayer. The sound is gentle, harmonizing with the stillness of the space. There is no hurry, no desire for completion. The prayer is the prayer itself, a moment of connection, of reflection, and of gratitude for the day that has passed. Each monk is present in this moment, offering his devotion without distraction. As the final notes of the chant fade, there is a brief moment of silence, a silence that seems to stretch, as though the entire monastery is holding its breath, allowing the prayer to settle into the very stones of the chapel. The monks rise, their movement slow and deliberate. There is no rush to leave. They simply stand in quiet reverence, letting the stillness envelop them. After vespers, the monks make their way to the refectory for supper. The evening meal is simple, just as the morning meal had been. There is no indulgence, no extravagance. It is sustenance for the body, nourishment for the soul. The refectory, though humble, feels warm and welcoming. The long wooden tables are set with bowls of vegetable soup, slices of bread, and perhaps a few apples or small pieces of cheese. The room is lit by the flickering glow of candles, their soft light dancing across the worn stone walls. The monks eat in silence, their attention focused inward. There is no conversation, no small talk. The meal is not an event to be savored for its food, but for the stillness it provides. The simple act of eating becomes a sacred ritual, a quiet time of reflection and nourishment. Each monk takes his time, savoring each bite, but not for the flavor, but for the grounding it provides, a reminder of the simplicity of life and the sacredness of each moment. Once the meal is complete, the monks rise in unison, their movements quiet as they return to their tasks. There is no rush, no haste. Some will return to their cells for rest, while others may make their way back to the chapel to light the final candles or tidy the space. Still others may take a brief walk through the garden or along the stone paths of the monastery, savoring the evening air. The evening air is cool, filled with the scent of earth and the faint sound of wind rustling through the leaves. The monastery is quiet now, the sounds of the outside world distant, muffled by the thick stone walls. The monks move through the corridors in silence, each lost in his thoughts, each finding his way back to his cell for the night. In the cells, the monks prepare for rest. The simple beds are made with straw mattresses and woolen blankets, the soft flicker of candlelight the only illumination in the otherwise dark space. The monks kneel beside their beds for a final moment of prayer, their heads bowed in quiet reflection. The prayer is brief, but it is a moment of peace, a time to offer gratitude for the day and to prepare for the rest that is needed to renew the body and spirit. As the final candle flickers and is extinguished, the monastery settles into silence. The stone walls absorb the quiet, holding it close, as though time itself has slowed. The monks lie in their beds, their bodies at rest, their minds calm. The rhythm of the day has come to its close, but the monastery continues as it always has in its unbroken cycle. The peace of the night wraps around the monks like a blanket, and they drift off into restful sleep, knowing that the rhythm will begin again when the first light of dawn breaks over the horizon. As the night deepens, the monastery enters its most peaceful, sacred time. The bell tower, though silent, stands tall against the dark sky, its stone face softened by the moonlight. The courtyard is quiet, the stone paths barely visible under the faint glow of the stars. The trees are still, their branches swaying gently in the cool night air. There is a deep sense of calm, as though the entire monastery is holding its breath, waiting for the new day to begin. Inside, the monastery is equally still. The monks are asleep in their cells, their breathing steady and calm. The stone walls of their cells are thick, holding the warmth of the day within, providing a cool refuge for the monks as they rest. The flickering candlelight, which once illuminated their rooms, has now burned low, casting long shadows on the stone walls. The monastery is a place of perpetual quiet, where time itself seems to move slowly, almost imperceptibly. The rhythmic ticking of the clock, which marks the hours of the day, is a distant sound, swallowed by the thick stone and the thick silence that fills the monastery at night. It is a peaceful silence, one that feels eternal, unbroken by the rush and noise of the world outside. The night passes quietly, as it always does. The monks rest, their minds still, their bodies at ease. The monastery, with its ancient walls and its deep sense of history, holds them in a timeless embrace. Each breath they take is in rhythm with the pulse of the place, as though they are part of something far greater than themselves. Outside, the stars twinkle in the cold night sky, their light distant but constant. The wind stirs gently through the trees, and the sound of leaves rustling in the night is the only reminder that life continues beyond the walls of the monastery. But here, within these stone walls, the world outside seems far away, almost irrelevant. The monastery exists in its own rhythm, its own time, and it is a time of peace. As the night slowly gives way to the first light of dawn, the monks remain still in their rest. The darkness of the night begins to lift, replaced by the soft glow of the rising sun. The bell will soon toll again, and the monks will rise to begin the day once more. But for now, the monastery remains quiet, a sanctuary of peace, a place where time slows and the rhythm of life continues unbroken. The night, like a gentle wave, continues its unhurried rhythm, stretching across the monastery. The world outside feels distant, as though it has faded into the edges of time. The stone walls of the monastery stand firm, ancient and timeless, holding the peace within. The bell tower is bathed in the soft glow of the full moon, its tall spire reaching high into the sky, casting a long, slender shadow across the quiet courtyard. The trees in the garden, too, stand tall, their branches still in the cool night air. Only the soft rustling of leaves disturbs the silence, creating a lullaby-like whisper that fills the monastery with a sense of serenity. Inside, the monks remain at rest. Their simple straw mattresses are the only place where they find refuge after a long day of prayer, work, and contemplation. The cells, though plain and modest, feel like sanctuaries. The stone walls offer a cool embrace, holding the warmth from the day within, providing comfort for the monks as they sleep. Each monk lies peacefully in his cell, his body at rest, and his mind quiet. The only sound in the room is the soft rhythm of his breath, slow and steady. The flicker of a candle that once illuminated the space has now dimmed and is almost gone, leaving only the shadows that stretch across the walls. But the peace that fills the space is palpable. It's a peace that comes not from the absence of noise, but from the presence of stillness. The monastery, as if conscious of the monk's rest, holds its breath. Time itself seems to slow here, its passage barely noticeable as the hours slip by unnoticed. The walls of the monastery have seen countless nights like this one, and they have borne witness to the deep, timeless stillness of each moment. They hold the secrets of centuries, and within their thick, sturdy frames, they cradle the monks' rest, the unbroken rhythm of their sleep. Outside, the moon casts a gentle, pale light over the monastery. The stone courtyard, which is so alive with activity during the day, is now still. The trees stand like silent sentinels, their branches gently swaying in the cool night breeze. The wind carries a quiet whisper, stirring the leaves in the garden. It's the kind of night that feels infinite, a night where the passage of time is measured only by the slow, rhythmic turning of the earth and the unspoken connection between nature and those who live within its grasp. The stars twinkle above, their distant light cool and serene, adding to the sense of calm that pervades the monastery. The night feels eternal, as if it could stretch on forever without end. Here, within the walls of the monastery, the monks sleep deeply, unaware of the world outside. their spirits quiet and at peace. But even as the monks sleep, the monastery continues to hold its rhythm. There is a quiet energy in the air, a sense that time, though moving forward, does not hurry in this place. The monastery moves to its own beat, as it has for centuries. It is an island of peace, surrounded by the ever-changing world, but unchanged by it. As the night passes and the hours slip by, the monastery remains a place of rest. The monks, their bodies at ease, are bound to this rhythm, their lives intertwined with the pulse of the earth and the sky. They sleep not just to rest, but to renew themselves for the rhythm of the day that will soon return. For now, though, there is only the quiet. And as the night deepens, the monastery seems to exhale, releasing the breath it has held since the evening bell first tolled. The silence continues to hold the space, thick and comforting, as the world outside remains distant, muted, and far away. As the night slowly recedes, the first light of dawn begins to break over the horizon. The bell tower, which had stood silent under the moonlight, now tolls once more, signaling the new day. The sound of the bell is soft but insistent, filling the air with a gentle resonance. It is a call to the monks, inviting them to rise, to begin their day with prayer, just as they have done for centuries. The bell tolls not with urgency, but with an invitation, a reminder that the cycle is about to begin again. The soft golden light of the morning slowly fills the monastery. The courtyard, which had been still and silent under the moonlight, now begins to stir with the first rays of the sun. The stone paths glow faintly, and the trees stretch their branches toward the light as if waking from a long rest. The air is cool, but carries a promise of warmth, the scent of fresh earth and growing plants filling the space. Inside the monastery, the monks slowly begin to wake. Their cells, cool and quiet, are now filled with the soft light of dawn. The monks rise from their beds with slow, deliberate movements, each one adjusting his habit and offering a brief prayer of gratitude for the new day. There is no hurry, no rush. The morning is a time for calm reflection, for centering the mind before the tasks of the day begin. As the monks make their way to the chapel, the rhythm of the monastery begins to take shape again. The soft sound of their footsteps echoes down the corridors, each monk lost in his own thoughts, each one following the same quiet path to the chapel. There, in the stillness, they will begin their first prayer of the day, matins. The chapel is dim at first, the candles flickering in the early morning light. The monks kneel in silence, their heads bowed, their voices rising in unison as they begin the prayer. The sound of their voices is soft, the words spoken with care, each note a gentle offering. The prayer itself is not hurried, it is slow, deliberate, each word imbued with meaning. There is no rush to finish, no desire to move on to the next task. The prayer is an offering in itself, and in this moment, it is enough. Once matins is completed, the monks rise and move from the chapel to the refectory for their morning meal. The air outside is cool and fresh, the scent of earth and stone mingling in the morning breeze. The refectory, simple and humble, offers a small respite from the calm of the chapel. The monks sit together at long wooden tables, their faces serene, their minds still as they eat their simple meal in quiet fellowship. The meal is modest but nourishing. Bread, porridge, and perhaps a small cup of tea. There is no conversation, no words exchanged. The monks eat in silence, each one focused on the simplicity of the meal, on the grounding rhythm of eating. Each bite is a small act of devotion, a moment to pause and reflect before the work of the day begins. The morning meal is not rushed, it is savored, not for the food itself, but for the stillness it provides. As the meal concludes, the monks rise, their movements slow and deliberate. Some will return to their cells for a brief time of rest, while others will head to the scriptorium or the garden to begin their work. The rhythm of the day continues, but for now, the peace of the morning remains, held in the hearts of the monks as they begin their tasks with the same quiet reverence that fills every aspect of their lives. As the new day unfolds, the monastery settles into the timeless rhythm that has defined it for centuries. The bell tolls once more, but this time it is not to call the monks to prayer. It is a reminder that the monastery, though isolated from the outside world, continues to move forward. The days pass, one flowing gently into the next, a quiet, unbroken cycle that mirrors the very pulse of life itself. The monks, having completed their morning prayers and shared their simple breakfast, now return to their work. Some make their way to the scriptorium to continue the painstaking task of transcribing sacred texts. Others head to the gardens to tend to the crops that will sustain the community. And still others move to the library or study rooms, where they spend their time reading, reflecting, and writing in the quiet solitude of their surroundings. There is no sense of hurry in their movements. Each task, whether large or small, is approached with the same sense of reverence, the same calm focus. There is no rush to complete the work, for the work itself is the goal. The monastery is not a place of external achievement, but of internal growth. Each moment is an opportunity to live in the present, to be mindful of the present moment, to connect with the eternal rhythm that binds them all. The stone walls of the monastery, ancient and enduring, have borne witness to countless moments like this, days filled with quiet work, prayer, and reflection. But the monastery is not just a place where time passes. It is a place where time itself slows down, stretching and bending in the quiet of the chambers, the corridors, and the gardens. Outside, the world spins on in its chaotic rush, but inside the monastery, time unfolds with grace. The monks work together, but each monk also works alone. In the scriptorium, their quills move across parchment in a steady rhythm, transcribing the sacred texts with the same devotion as their ancestors. The letters form on the page, one by one, each stroke of the quill a prayer, each word a step closer to the divine. The garden is no different. The monks bend low to the earth, their hands in the soil as they tend to the plants that nourish them. The rhythm of their work is the same, slow, deliberate, and filled with purpose. The air is fresh with the scent of herbs and soil, and the faint sound of birdsong fills the space. Time seems to stretch and slow, allowing the monks to become one with the earth, one with the plants, and one with the rhythm of the natural world. Evening begins to fall once more, and with it comes the peaceful rhythm of vespers. The bell tolls again, this time a gentle reminder that the day is drawing to a close. The monks gather in the chapel, their faces serene, their bodies still. The candlelight flickers softly in the air, casting long shadows on the stone walls as they kneel for their final prayer of the day. The evening prayer is not hurried. There is no rush to finish, no desire to complete the task. Instead, the monks settle into the rhythm of the prayer, letting the words flow from their lips in unison. The chapel is filled with the sound of their voices, soft and steady. Each word is a thread woven into the fabric of the day, each prayer a step closer to peace. When the prayer ends, the monks rise, their movements slow and deliberate. They leave the chapel in silence, the air still with the resonance of their prayer. The day has come to its close, and the monastery, once again, settles into the quiet of the evening. The refectory is prepared for supper. The evening meal is simple, as always. The room is dimly lit by the flickering light of candles, and the monks sit together at the long wooden tables. They eat their bread and soup in silence, savoring the stillness that surrounds them. The quiet conversation of the evening is filled with the sound of chewing and the occasional clink of a spoon against a bowl. The meal ends as the last light of the day fades from the sky. The monks rise, their movements slow, their faces relaxed. Some head to their cells to prepare for sleep, while others linger in the garden or the corridors, savoring the quiet before nightfall. As the monastery falls into its evening slumber, the air becomes cool and the silence deepens. The monks are at rest, their bodies and minds ready for the renewal that sleep brings. In the stillness of the night, the monastery holds its breath once more, preparing for the cycle to begin again with the first light of dawn. And so, life in the monastery continues in its quiet rhythm, its unbroken cycle. Time passes, but it does so with grace, without urgency, without haste. The monks live not for the world outside, but for the rhythm of their own lives, the steady beat of their prayers, their work, and their rest. Each day is the same as the last, and yet it is never quite the same. Each day is a new opportunity to connect with the eternal, to be part of the unbroken flow of time that moves through the monastery, through the earth, and through the very soul. As the evening deepens, the monastery is enveloped in the serene embrace of twilight. The world outside seems distant, swallowed by the vast expanse of time. The monastery's stone walls stand firm and eternal, holding within them the quiet rhythm of life that has persisted for centuries. Within this timeless space, life moves in a slow, deliberate cadence. The monks, their work done, are not idle. Instead, they engage in the sacred practice of reflection, a daily ritual as essential as prayer itself. The air is cool, filled with the fresh scent of the earth and the soft rustle of leaves in the evening breeze. The monastery courtyard, now bathed in the deepening shadows of twilight, is peaceful, almost otherworldly in its stillness. The towering trees, their leaves turning shades of amber and gold with the change of the seasons, stand still in the breeze. Each tree, each stone, each whisper of wind carries the weight of history, offering the monks a deep, unwavering sense of connection to the sacred, to the earth, and to the unbroken cycle of life that unfolds within these walls. The monks have long since completed their evening prayers, their bodies at rest, their minds now turned inward. In their cells, the glow of candles flickers gently, casting shadows on the stone walls, their light soft and warm against the cool night. Each monk, in his own way, reflects on the events of the day, offering thanks for the peace that has filled his heart. Some sit in quiet contemplation, their eyes closed, lost in the rhythm of their own thoughts. Others walk slowly through the monastery's cloisters, their bare feet making no sound as they move from one quiet corner to the next. The stone corridors, though simple and unadorned, seem to stretch endlessly, offering spaces of reflection, where even time itself seems to pause. In the garden, the evening air is cool and fragrant, filled with the soft scent of herbs and flowers that have bloomed throughout the day. A monk bends low to the ground, his hands carefully tending to the plants. His movements are slow, deliberate, each touch a prayer of gratitude to the earth. The garden is not just a place of work. It is a sanctuary of stillness, where the monks can touch the soil, connect with the earth, and find peace in the simplest of tasks. The evening meal, as always, is simple, but it is savored with the same reverence as the morning meal. The monks gather at the long wooden tables in the refectory, their faces calm, their hands steady. There is no conversation, no need for words. The quiet companionship shared in the silent act of eating becomes its own form of prayer. Each bite of bread, each sip of water, each small moment is a reflection of the larger rhythm of life that unfolds within the walls of the monastery. After the meal, some monks retire to their cells, while others remain in the refectory or the gardens, reflecting further on the peace that fills their hearts. Some take brief walks along the stone paths, pausing to gaze at the stars above, which now begin to emerge in the darkened sky. The monastery, bathed in the soft glow of moonlight, feels as if it exists outside of time, existing in an eternal present. The bell tower stands silent in the distance, a quiet reminder that, although the day has ended, the monastery's cycle continues without interruption. The monks, ever mindful of the rhythm of the day, begin to prepare for rest. The stillness of the night fills the air, and the monks are at peace, knowing that another day will soon come. As they retire to their cells, the air grows cooler, and the world outside seems to vanish completely. The only sound is the soft rustling of robes, the flicker of candlelight, and the quiet breaths of the monks as they settle into the stillness of their beds. The stone walls of their cells offer a sense of calm and protection, and the soft murmurs of prayer carry through the air, offering a final act of devotion before sleep. The rhythm of the monastery has never faltered. Day follows night, prayer follows work, and reflection follows devotion. The monks, bound by this eternal rhythm, are at peace. They know that this cycle will continue long after they are gone, that it will remain a steady, unbroken thread that connects them to generations of monks who have walked these same stone paths, knelt in these same prayerful moments, and rested in these same peaceful rooms. Outside, the stars twinkle brightly in the vast sky, their distant light a reminder of the infinite nature of time. The sound of the wind in the trees is gentle, like a lullaby, and the monastery stands firm beneath the celestial expanse. There is no rush, no urgency, only the quiet, eternal rhythm of life moving forward in perfect harmony. As the night deepens, the monks drift into sleep, their bodies at rest, their minds still. The silence of the monastery is complete, broken only by the soft rhythmic sound of breath. And in this silence, there is peace, there is rest, there is eternity.